Oh, hey, good that you're here. Alright, so we're going to start the PUMA now and do the whole process. First, you need to get the key for the PUMA box from the secretary. And open the PUMA box, and in here there's the amplifier, power for the PUMA, we can start that one. And down here, that's the QNX box as a power button here. And if you actually push it, it's going to start booting. So that's the computer that controls the PUMA, and then over here we have the PUMA master, that's the client from which we start the simulator and so on. And that we can also start now. All of this is actually listed in the wiki, so you can just try to follow the description in the wiki. And now if we start this, that, log in here. This is the standard password. And then we need to download the student solutions to this computer here. We already prepared that. But now this is here, all the solution files from the students. And we're just going to try this one. So you need the control.cpp file and the gains file. Can you see that? Yep. So what you do, you open a terminal, you cd into the solutions, so here we have the control.cpp and the gains, and you need to check the control.cpp file, make sure that there's no print lines anywhere in the code. And maybe also sanity check just briefly that there's no super stupid stuff going on in the controllers that you want to try out. So once you check that, you can, in this folder, use the run control.cpp on PUMA shell script. And I think it just looks for the control file, but I'm just going to add this as an argument. And what this does is basically it sends this control file to the PUMA, to the QNX box, and then runs it there. So if we start this, it'll set up a connection.
I think it doesn't need the argument, but yeah.
Yeah, probably not. But what it does is it connects to the PUMA box here. I think then it compiles the PUMA again, which normally doesn't do anything, and then it runs it. So at the end of this, it says waiting for RC client to connect, and then we need a second terminal, where again we go to the solution files here, and from this one you now want to start the PUMA simulator locally on this machine. And you need to make sure that you start the simulator that's compiled as the remote client. So here on this machine there is already a pre-compiled version in the PUMA repository. There's a build folder called build our client, and there we have a PUMA sim. And if we start that PUMA sim, you'll see in the bottom right corner here it says our client, which means it's not running the simulation locally, but it actually connects to the QNX box. Now,
reset.
Right. If you move the robot while it was turned off, or maybe actually first time you do this in the morning, you should do a reset, which it's not doing right now.
Okay, so sometimes you get kind of a command prompt in that thing, and then you can just type reset, and this will set the current configuration of the robot to 0, and it helps to sync that what's shown here in the PUMA sim and what's shown on the real thing is the same thing. If you don't get that prompt, just log into via telnet, start the thing manually, and then you get the prompt definitely.
So we can also demo that.
Sure. Yeah, telnet via.
So you telnet on the PUMA box local, you get a login prompt here. Password is in the wiki. And then if you, I guess first
if you can
close this one.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wait.
Just run.
/run. Just run.
Thought so.
I think it's /run. Okay, so this is all perfectly choreographed. So now it's waiting for the client, and then again on the client side I start the PUMA simulator in the client mode. It's entering the server loop, and now I think, yeah, so now I get the command prompt, and all you need to do is send a reset command while the PUMA is in 0 configuration. So you need to make sure that it's in 0 configuration, then you do a reset, and afterwards the simulator and the real robot should be in sync. And then all you need to do in the simulator is, I don't know, you probably want to change to 3DOF, then you can load the gains that for the float control that doesn't change anything, but here you see that if you load the gains, this should be the gains from the students. One of the bugs is that you sometimes need to click here and there and reload, I don't know, just play around until they don't change anymore.
But for these gains to work, you need to start the PUMA sim in the folder that contains the gains file. So this is locally on that local machine.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we can just start the controller quickly and show these stops and stuff.
So first thing you want to do is start it in float control. So for that you just select float here in the simulator, make sure that it looks fine, and then what you need to do is you need to unlock both E-stops to make sure that you can actually move the robot, still hold one of the E-stops in your hand. Down here there's the arm power button. This now actually will will enable the arm and will immediately execute the controller that's running right now. So that's why you want to make sure that float control is running. So now I push this button and the light goes on, which means the robot is running. So right now float control is running. If float control is implemented correctly, the arm should not move. If something went wrong, the arm will fall down. If something goes wrong, just press the E-stop and you'll see that the light for the arm actually goes off. So right now if you want to start the robot again, you will have to press arm power on again. So every time any of these E-stops is pressed, I think also this is another E-stop, the power goes off to the arm.
Okay. So you don't want to run a normal controller?
Sure, we can run an actual controller. So this is now a PD controller. You want to make sure that the gains are not super weird, so something along those lines here, 1400, so yeah, I don't know, something along those lines. Make sure that the robot is not too far off from the position you send. Right now it should be close to 0. Actually, well, we'll see if this works because we reset it without being super in the 0 position.
Yeah, but it should be fine.
Okay, so again, before you start the robot, maybe put it in float mode, start the robot, and now you can press start to execute the controller. Okay, and it'll just move to the position. And now if you want to do the jump, this is what a 10-degree jump in the 3 joints looks like.
That's beautiful, Vincent.
Thank you. That's group 1.
Good job, group 1.
Yes.
Good job.
Right, and then when you're done, stop the robot, exit the simulator. Make sure that the QNX box is also stopped. Okay, because I've blocked an telnet.
Control D.
Control D goes out, and then in the PUMA repository there's a QNX folder, and in that QNX folder there's upload script folder with all the scripts you can send to the QNX box, and here you have the QNX computer shutdown script. So with expect you can call that shutdown script, and what this does, it connects to the QNX box and starts the shutdown process. So now you can hear the computer beeping. It takes a moment for it to turn off. While you wait for that, you can already start turning off the amplifier, and you can shut down the desktop computer.
There's one more thing, Vincent. How does a break release off thing work? What's that?
Yeah, so there's a long description in the wiki again. What this does is, if you want to move the PUMA, because it's not in zero position, but you want to zero it, what you have to do is you need to release the brake. So if the brake release is off, the brakes are engaged. But if you want to manually release the brakes, you need to enable the brake release. That's done here. And then in addition to that, follow me to the robot. In addition to that, on the back of the PUMA, there's this little button called brake release. And if you push that now, the brakes of the joints will turn off. So this is a two-person job. One person will hold the robot. We can do both things at once.
I can press the button for you.
Sure. And then if you press the button,
I did press the button.
you did?
Yeah, I pressed the button. But maybe you already switched off. You already switched off the amplifier.
Okay. Do you still want to do it?
No, it's fine. I think we demoed
if you
it.
push the button, you could then move the robot, put it in zero configuration, then release the button again. And then when you're done with that, you can engage the brake release off button. So while running, you usually want this to be on brake release off. And now, since we waited long enough time, the QNX computer is shut down. You still hear the ventilators, but it's turned off. So what you want to do is just shut it off with the button here. Close all of this. Make sure that this is, and put this back in the secretary.